Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Today is my first session to introduce Mule ESB. In next few weeks, I'm going to deliver the videos and lectures to explain different ESBs. In particular, I'm going to give a demo on Mule ESB, Red Hat Fuse ESB, which is based on the Fuse source, the Service Mix ESB. I have been doing consulting to develop different ESB solution for enterprise integration for last few years. But I never have a good chance to document those lectures and those best practice. So from now on, I'm going to gradually document and do some video for different ESBs. And my plan is I will introduce the basic point view from development, and then I'll move on to the architecture. In that way, so I can cover both practical and theoretical. So today I'm going to introduce Mule first from development point of view. Mule has been developed very fast for last few years. Especially now we have the Studio 3.5. It's very impressive. And we have the Mule runtime, which comes with Mule Management Console 3.4.2. So it's very good platform for enterprise integration. There are more than 120 different transport already developed out of box. During my last few years consulting, I've been using it. Especially for the big company, if you want to have a quick development cycle and long-term maintenance, is definitely is very good platform to choose. Okay, so now I'm going to give a brief introduction on how to do the development, how to install, how to write, develop the first application. So I have, now let's minimize my video. So I have write down a simple tutorial for introduction to Mule ESB, which include how to install, how to develop first application. You can take a look on this. If you can search the ggl-consulting.blogspot.com, you will see this my blog. So now let's start. So first, let's download the Mule ESB from the Mule web page, which you can do it from the Mule Enterprise EE home page. So we need to download these two files. One is this is for runtime. This is for Mule Studio. I already downloaded it and on my MacBook. So if I go to download page, so let's see. So you see, I download these two zip files. And so once you download, you can unzip them. I use jar, so you can use unzip, jar VXF. So so compress this. You can see that. This is extracting Mule Studio. There's Mule Studio is pretty big. There's a lot of files. So if you look that, so let's see what Mule file we have created. So this Mule Studio has been expanded, and then in the same way you can expand this file. And so I already done this. After I did that, I moved this to my home directory. So if you look that, I already have the Mule installation. So I installed the Mule Studio under my home directory, and Mule runtime is also home directory. So you can start Mule by through this. So go to home directory, and if you look the Mule Studio, so let's look that. So okay. So under Mule Studio, you see this is the application. You can double click this to start Mule. Okay, so I already done so. This is a Mule. As you can see, I already created 2 projects just for this training purposes. But I'm going to create a project again from scratch. Okay, so let's do that. And that's a Mule. Create a Mule project. And as I already have hello world, I'm going to this code echo, say echo project will be echo -http. So you can see that this is a project name. We are using Mule server, and make sure you create this. This is create a Maven project. So it's very important. And then what do next? So then nothing, just go quickly and then finish. All right, so perfect. So now you see we have the echo-http projects already created. In this demo, I'm going to just demo the basic features, how you development, where the file, etc. And so this is the flow. There are a few interesting you might want to know is that, you know, this is just, it's really just a Maven. So there's a Mule project, POM file created. So see, this is the echo HTTP. We can use in the palette drop, drag and drop. And a few things probably is really interesting thing is that the component. So we talk about HTTP component, etc. And also the endpoint. So you had see HTTP. So what I'm going to do today, just using endpoint, HTTP endpoint, just see how it works. So let's drag here. Now you see we create HTTP, and because I'm going to do something with the little bit interesting, so we want to add a component. So they come with different component, echo component, Java component, Groovy. You can see that. So I'm going to do some logging. So I want to add a logger here. So this is done. So now we create a flow, right? So now if you look here, it's just not very much. So it's very simple. So in order to, we can we can test this right away actually, but I want to add there's a very important thing here called pass. By default, it didn't provide. So let's say path we call echo, right? So now the logging, I want to just add a echo the message. Say later on I want to explain what is message, what is really Mule message. But for now, for the interest, I want to show you just add a groovy. For the detail, you can see I added some detail stuff here. I add a groovy. So I'll copy paste this line here. So instead of this default, I'm going to use groovy. So here we go. And now we can save it. We'll see what happened. There is a component. Oh, that should be fine. You just say, okay, there's some error, but actually this should work fine. Okay, so now we create a flow. If you look here, so internet couldn't pass the reason. Alright, so let's see what's going on. Oh, okay. So this the thing here. Now it should save file. Okay, now it should be fine to save it. So now we have this. This is all I want. And so we develop it, and the thing is, here it's downloading things. If you look here, this is because it is enterprise version. It tried to download all the from Mule repository. This is a Mule's development repository. It's really private. So it will time out later on. Somehow we can still run this from studio. Let's try to run it and make sure you run as Mule application. So and then okay, so once you see this, that means it started. So a few interesting things you need to know, and later on you can read it. This what happened, basically tell us what's a protocol. But here is important thing. We're using port. This is port 8081, and this is a path echo and HTTP. So exchange pattern. Few things about HTTP endpoint which we should know. So now you see this is running. This indicates this Mule application is already running. So let's go to here to test it. So we'll say localhost. We are using port 8081, and we use echo. As you can see, I already did some testing earlier. So let's say I have username. Let's choose this. Instead of choose that, let me do something. Make sure we are not doing something special. Say let's say department equal to human. Let's say human resources. See what happened? This is the echo message. But before I think under my local I have another process running. So I want to make sure, because during my early development, I might deploy something already. So let me stop that. And okay, so how do I know it's running? Before I will explain this. So you see there's a process already running. So I need to stop it. Okay. Let's see. This is an issue. Sometimes you may not be able to stop. So this job process. So this is Studio, you can see, and this is the process I ran earlier. So I need to kill this. So now let's see what's this running. Alright, so maybe I already killed the Mule. Okay, so I killed this process. That's okay. Because I want to make sure I don't have something running on my other process. So now let's run it again. So I want to make sure I'm running these applications. So let's build it. Once you see that application OS blah blah, this means started. So I'll explain there is also JMX agent started. So now let's go back here, and last time we say human resource, we say so department as dev. Okay, so it works. And now I want to do something else, because say this is fine, you know, I show you how simple is Mule using Studio. I want to show you the real development. We need to use Maven to build it. There is a problem with Mule Studio by out of box. They add something which, as I said, if I open this file, they add quite something for using their local resources, which is dev. What's the EE dev? This from outside we cannot reach this, so we need to uncomment those dependency. So basically anything ending with -e, this EE, we need to uncomment. So there are several places I document in my blog, but for this purpose, you can hear the Mule dependency, and then if you look here, so this one has problem. And the easiest one is this. For the easy to read purpose, I always do that. So you can select this. For Mac, there's a code command and the slash. So this command out the XML. Every developer should know this. It's very handy. And we'll do the same here too. So alright, so do this. So this is done. Okay, here there's another place here, and configure those 3 dependency which we have to uncomment in order. Otherwise, you won't be able to build it. It will fail. It's a timeout. There's another place which also using the dev repository, which is their private. For some reason, they generate this. So towards the end of dependency, you see this, the Clover engine. We need to get rid of this too. So, all right. So now we're good. So we comment out 3 E dependence. One of this engine dependent. So now we can save it. This is basically, you see, now the build will be very quick. So build success locally. Now I want to explain the deployment process. So once we build the application, simple application, so naturally we'll say, okay, how do we deploy it? Where we deploy it? I already installed the Mule runtime and my home directory. So the runtime is under this, say, okay, so let's go back. So this one. So you see here there's apps, there's a bin, conference, etc. As you know, I already have a simple application deploy here. So I'm going to delete them. So if it's running, if you can go to the web page, Mule web page, they tell you if it's running, if you delete this file, it will delete the application. Because now I want to show you how to start and deploy, so I didn't start the Mule runtime. So I'm going to undeploy everything. Oh, sorry. So this is a directory. So we're going to delete this file. Now there's no applications. So Mule somehow decided to put all your application in this directory. So how are we going to deploy it? So I have developed, as you know, I have developed the simple application under Mule Studio and Workspace, right? So if you look that there's echo here, there's echo HTTP, right? So let's go there and then see the echo. Remember, we have not built the application yet. So if build was success because there's another procedure we have to execute. I already done so. So as you know, I created a script on this. So there's another library we have to install to our Maven repository. I already document in my blog. So you can search introduce Mule ESB under GGL-consulting. And so I run this already, so it's already installed and on my local environment, local Maven repository. So now let's go back here and see what target here. So there's nothing, right? We haven't. So let's try install now. Do a Maven clean install. Let's see what happened. So this is building our echo-http project. See, it's very fast. So if you don't uncomment out that the EE dependency and you don't install that, this will take forever. And so now we're done with. Let's see what happened in the target. You see, we create this file. This is a Mule application in the zip format. So let's look at what's inside that, right? So in order to look inside the zip file, you can use a jar VTF. That means we just do not extract it. So just look what inside the content. Oh, sorry. So that would be under target, right? So echo. So let's take a look. So you see, this is really the XML file is about the flow. Mule has the concept called the flow. They used to, old version they call service. Now they change it. So they are property files. They have. It's interesting they copy this under class property. As you know, I haven't developed any Java component. So this is just out of box, very simple. And this application is really simple. If you compare with other like Red Hat Fuse bundle or OSGI bundle, it's really simple. OSGI bundle in this respect, they cover a lot more than this. So that's the beauty about Mule part, and I'll do more comparison later. But from this point, Mule does something really elegant. Okay, so now we have so far we have developed, tested in the Mule Studio. Now we're going to deploy it into the Mule runtime. So let's go to Mule runtime. As you know, I deploy the Mule here, and we want to go to apps where so we can deploy, right? So here nothing. So what we do, we just copy the zip file we had under the Mule Studio workspace. So echo target, right? So there is an echo zip file, right? So you can see. Okay, I'm going to copy it over here. So now what happened? So we copied the zip file. Let's see if the zip file is there. So the zip file is here. Something is not right. They didn't unzip it. So why he did not unzip it? Oh, okay. I know why it's not unzipped. Remember, we just copied. So it did not unzip it because the Mule runtime is not running. That's a good thing. So let's see what happens if we start runtime. All right. So to start Mule runtime, we have to run the Mule. All right. So let's do Mule start. You can run Mule as a daemon, or run as command line process. If I run this way, it will run as a daemon. So let's do that. So now Mule is starting, right? Remember, before we see what's a zip file when I copy it, right? So now let's see what happened. Oh, okay. So here you go. So it's unzipped. Remember, so it was last time it was like that. It's unzipped and remove the zip file. So that was designed way, and now another file is created. Echo anchor file. This is the file is just Mule try to monitor the system. You know, if you want to delete this, if you want to delete the application, you can just simply delete this file. So now let's see what happened. So this is, you see the Java process. This is the Mule runtime, and there's a lot of things we can read by looking into this. We understand how the process, what kind of library they're using, right? I will explain that in detail later on, but for now, for this purpose, I want to just cover the basic, how to deploy, how to test. Now let's go back to test again. So before that, make sure that this process not run in Mule Studio. So you don't want to, let's see, okay. So how do you know it's running Studio? Normally, if you do the console, there should be another stop bar that's running. So this means not running. So we know it's not running here, and so another thing we might look is the logs directory. It's always good idea to look the log, and there are several logs. mmseek console uplog is more interest. So if you tell that console log, and you see what happened, right? See, they say how you the bundle, cache, form, etc. And let's start do something on this. So I'm going to say here, you know, I mean, you can do echo, say we did use department. We can do like database, for example, equal to dev db. Let's see. Okay, see, it's dev db here, so it's running. And so let's look at log, see what happened. Is anything new here? And so what happened here? So they create a new log. See that here? This is what we would like to see, right? Echo HTTP log. So this has some interesting, you know, the header session stuff. Definitely there is a interesting we should look when we do a development, and this HTTP inbound properties, inbound scope property here, see, and outbound here. Of course, well, I will explain. So there is a session variables, inbound properties, outbound properties, etc. So you can look here. Yeah, so this, for now, we covered the basic stuff. So at this point, we just cover the very basic, like the first day you decide to develop some Mule stuff. My next session, the demo, I'm going to demo some components like a Java component, Groovy component, and the processor from real development point. Suppose you want to develop a project, and we'll check how to develop a processor, develop a component in next session. So for now, I think I cover the fundamental, very basic stuff, like your first day, try to run Mule applications. All right. Okay. Thank you for watching the video, and do read on my blog, and probably I will add more. Okay. Enjoy. Thank you.